All right, so Chris, you have the questions.
Yeah, I got them. I printed them out. I'm getting it's a very inconsistent feed here in terms of, I can hear you, but it seemed like Lance and Mike, when they spoke, it cut in and out a little, kind of like a echoey or vibration sound. So I'll make sure I can hear what they're, answers.
We'll kill the director's mic, and that's where the echo's coming from. So we'll do a test real quick now. Just Kevin, kill your mic. Mike, Norman, give us a quick 5 count.
Sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Good. Lance, you go.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Good. Better, Chris?
Yes, it was great. It was good.
Cool.
And I can hear you fine. And then that box on the right, there's nothing in there right now I should see, right? Where you type things. There's nothing. It's just blank.
See anything now?
Oh, there we go. Yep, it says hello. Okay, good. All right, so I can see that.
No problem. Yeah, we should have Notch jump in as our research guru that we can bring in if there's a controversy.
Okay. Let's see. Is his last name pronounced Antonaccio, or how is it pronounced?
Antonacci.
Antonacci. Okay, Antonacci. Just because I tease him because I could never get it. Okay. It was Notch. Okay. Yeah, he could also work as a buffer if we were, we needed to fill time and the contestants. I can ask through him to expound on one of the topics. So, Nick, my thought was too, if we did this for on air, the numbers questions, I would just flip. I think it's better to start with something a little more like, like maybe the question, which one of these Cub pitchers didn't record a win in the postseason or something. When we do it, we don't have to switch it now, but I just think it's, and then the numbers can be second or something. That just
sounds good
for people watching it. Yeah, or we could even start with which American League team played against the Cubs on opening day in 2019. Way to start this,
Yeah, we could start with the 2019 questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
But for timing purposes here, just because I printed them out already in that way. And I got the update on the 2005. Thanks, Notch, for the correction on the Pierre trade. So Mike and Lance, I have your, let's see, I think I have info on you. Nick sent me that. Okay. Got a couple of Midwesterners here, which is good. All right. Represent.
The Midwest. Oh, yeah.
False info here.
University of Indiana and Northwestern, right? We just made. So this, if you get the answer right, you hear the bell, and if you get it wrong, it's a bad buzzer. I don't know what we're doing.
Nice.
And you got about 30 seconds, unless we're in. Well, we'll run through the rules, but I'm sure Nick.
Chris, let's see the whiteboard.
Oh yeah, so the old school election whiteboard here. This is how you're gonna get your score updates. Right here. So I'll put your names in. You don't have any nicknames. We're going by Mike and Lance. Is that what we're going with? All right.
Mike and Lance works.
Okay. How would you? So you guys obviously you work there, so you're baseball TV guys. But are you kind of numbers guys, stats guys? What's your role?
Yeah, I gotta kind of have a background in that.
Yeah.
I worked for the Big Ten Network for the last 7 years doing graphics and production.
Oh,
so I got a background in kind of both in that sense. Yeah, so kind of have a good background in stats and trivia. Always like to think so, at least.
Good.
Yeah, I'm a huge numbers guy actually, but I'm actually from the Northeast, so the Chicago knowledge I think is going to test me because I don't know how much I know about the Cubs.
Oh, okay. Like what, New York, Connecticut. Lance, what Northeast, like New York, Connecticut, Philly, that Northeast?
Connecticut, yeah, Southwestern Connecticut.
Okay.
I'm from Chicago here, so this should be the battle Chicago versus East Coast then.
Yeah, there you go. Northwestern and Indiana in early.
Oh yeah, or Hoosiers.
Well,
Yeah, Hoosiers and Wildcats usually battling.
Thanks for doing this. It'll, the timing. I know Nick filled you in. It'll be 37 minutes. It's a loose 30 in terms of the time, and
Yep.
we should be good.
Yeah, I love the show idea.
I
I think this is going to be awesome. Definitely love to help as much
thanks.
as we can.
Yeah, it's especially during these times, it's something fun, and they did a nice job on the questions, and there's some fun, some fun ones in there, some goofy answers. But I guess we have to come up. Maybe I could ask Nick, what are we giving away? A marquee shirt?
Yeah, we're still working that out because I think it's going to be played for charity.
Okay.
Because it's mostly going to be like on-air talent contestants or analysts.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Okay. So something donated to charity is perfect. Yeah, especially Rizzo. A number of the Cubs have their own charities, the players.
And that would be the long-term goal. Would be to start this off with a couple of Bruce Levine, Len Casper, DeRosa types, and then hopefully a couple of the current Cub players will see it. Will want to get involved now, and then it can start getting more player versus player.
Okay. Maybe we'll get Jed Hoyer and Theo Epstein to go head to head.
Yeah,
that would be.
Can you imagine?
Okay.
That'd be amazing.
It'd be all salary related. That'd be funny. Luxury tax questions.
Notch, you know how the camera works, right? You pointed it yourself.
Yeah. I'm working on a show simultaneously, so
He can multitask.
Well, we can punch you from this if you're too bogged down.
I'll contribute for a little bit.
Yeah, just to see how it flies. If there's a moment where you say bring Notch in.
Yep.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, it's a good buffer, Notch. It's good to know you're there.
Yes, I try to be reassuring. Definitely.
A safety net.
Most definitely, we all should have one.
Especially. Make a note here.
And Chris Myers, I'll kind of be tracking the score as well in case there's ever a point where you lose track or if you're locked into the moment or whatever, I'll be helping.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I'm working the buzzer, the bell, and the clock.
Buzzer. Yeah.
But
exactly.
If you just keep putting it up on the side too, I'll just make sure I'm matching what you're putting up in the little sidebar.
And Chris, you saw my email with a couple little notes and corrections.
Yeah, I saw it for the Juan Pierre trade in 2005, and I think that was the only.
That was it, and I just added some more background information for you.
Yeah, that's nice to have. Just if you're here, I'll just lean on you for that. But also, and Nick, a question or not for you too. I know we said in the 8th inning here, if you're. Maybe it's the 7th inning here. Yeah, we started the 7th inning here, where you can steal one if the guy misses it, but we only have a couple of questions there. Should we have an extra question in case somebody wants to, or should we keep that simple and just say first guy misses for 2, you get it for 1, and then you go first, you get it for 2, then you miss, the next guy gets it for 1, and we move on, just to keep that, because we only have 2 questions, right?
Yeah, it would be the first guy gets the first question, and then if he misses, the other contestant can either steal that for his question, so because he knows the answer, and he just takes it, or he can ask for the next question.
Or just go to. Oh, okay, and that's where it stops. Okay, and then it says fan question presented. So Taylor McGregor, if we want an additional bonus, I would throw to that. You just let me know if you want me to throw it.
Yeah, we're still working that out.
Yeah.
We might just scrap that idea.
Yeah. Okay. Just for whatever your timing purpose for that. I know we're going to try to give you a feel for the show and the pacing. So, and you can, Nick, just type too if in segments, you can always just say speed it up or slow it down, and I'll know what you mean there. I can, if we get into a segment and
do that on the side
one way or the other. Yeah, on the side, that'll help, because I can always, just like for people at home too. I think I know we were telling them don't answer too fast. I almost think it's worth repeating. I know they're going to end up seeing it on the screen, which we're not seeing it now. But the people, I'll probably say it twice because people still want time to think about it too. Like, oh, I know Rizzo. I think it's 44, but is it 30?
Yep.
You know, I mean, whatever so that we don't rush through it too much for even people watching.
You see the comment on the side now?
I don't know. I can see, yeah, slow down, speed up. Good. That's helpful. 8-7 Nick, 5-3 no, that's whatever. Okay, good. I'm sorry, 8-7 Mike. And yeah, have you thought about? I mean, do we need? You tell me. And this is probably a bigger question. I don't know, Nick. Any kind of either music underneath when questions are going or anything?
Yeah,
like
we have a bunch of different tracks. One for the actual show.
Okay, good.
And then some music
Okay.
for questions, and then we have music more like dramatic one for the last inning.
Okay, good.
And we might test this out and edit too, where we might throw some cheesy like sound effects in there, where like on sitcoms where you hear the clapping or the laughing or whatever. Like if there's moments like that, we might.
Okay, good, right? Okay, oh, good. All right, well, they're good. I'll finally get laughs on TV. This will be big.
All right, Kevin Dusold, do you feel pretty good? Notch, you feel comfortable?
Oh yeah, for sure. How's the audio for me? You guys can hear me okay?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, wonderful.
Do you want
Beautiful.
Nick? Do you want Notch brought in the very beginning, or
off the top at the very end before you start the format? So introduce Mike, introduce Lance, and then say we also have our research guru, who will be here as our safety net.
Okay.
And then get to the explanation of the game.
Okay.
All right, let's give this a shot. If Kevin Dusold, if you feel ready, and everyone else is good to go. All right, Chris, it'll start with you on a single, and then it'll go to Mike, and then Lance, and then Nacho.
Okay. And on the open, like about 10 seconds, just welcoming, saying a big overview. Okay.
Yep. Play at home trivia. So I'll give you a 5 count when we're ready to start, but we're gonna extend the records real quick.
Okay.
All right. Ready in 5, 4, 3, 2.
And we welcome you to Play at Home Trivia, from our home to your home. Nice to have you watching on the Marquee Sports Network. Some fun questions about baseball, the Cubs, with some people who are hoping to outdo each other. Let's meet our 2 contestants today. I'm your host, Chris Myers. We have a lot for you over the next 30 minutes. And Mike Norman, graduating from the University of Indiana, a diehard Chicago everything fan, worked at the Big Ten Network for Mark Silverman, and he's now working with the Cubs on the in-game scoreboard, working on that crew, and nice to have him with us. Mike, you excited to play?
Hey, thanks for having me, Chris.
Okay.
Let's play some trivia.
All right, you're going up against Lance Broskowski. Sounds like a Chicago Bear linebacker, graduated from Northwestern, loves doing player breakdowns. He's a writer for the Marquee Sports Network and works on the website, and he's from, he says, the Northeast. He won't give us the undisclosed location. His fans will follow him probably throughout this contest. But Lance, nice to have you with us. Are you ready to roll here?
Thank you very much. I am. Yep, it's Milford, Connecticut.
Milford, okay, you will. Okay, it's too close to Bristol, so you should be filled with knowledge just by accent through osmosis. And just in case any of us make a mistake, and I'm sure that we won't, we have Chris Antonacci. We call him Notch. He's the researcher's researcher, our stat guru, who knows more information than any human possibly should. But Notch, good to have you. If you hear anything, okay, just kind of be polite the way you correct us. All right, we'd appreciate that.
Always my
pleasure.
Good.
And he's excited to be here. All right, so I'll simplify. Think of it as a 9-inning game. In the early innings, you're going to get a lot of trivia, multiple choice. Then questions get a little more difficult. And then we also have a list. You're on a timer. We hope that you can answer within 30 seconds. And there's always a chance in the last at bat for a walk-off. No matter what the score is, you get a run each time you get an answer correct. And people at home can guess along as well, and we hope you do. All right, so Mike, we'll start with you. Multiple choice here. And we're going with numbers to start things off. I want to see how well you know some of the Cub players' numbers. So Anthony Rizzo, what number does he wear? Is it A, 34, B, 44, C, 22, or is it D, 48? So what number does Cubs first baseman Anthony Rizzo wear? And let's see how quickly you can answer that. Go ahead.
All right. Well, I love big number 44 over at the first base. Obviously, Anthony Rizzo, one of the cornerstones of the Cubs franchise there. I don't think anybody's going to forget that number 44. So I'm going to go with 44 as our answer.
Okay. And when you hear the bell, that means you are correct, and you are. It is number 44. By the way, if you get the question wrong, I should have mentioned this at the top. You hear a buzzer. All right, so you have a quick run to take the lead. So let's give Lance an opportunity here, and we'll stay with numbers. How about Chris Bryant? So we're going to the other side of the infield, and we'll put you on the clock here in a moment. But what number does he wear? Is it A, 13? Is it B, 9? C, 17? Or is it D, 12? What do you think, Lance?
Yeah, I remember watching Bryant way back when he played out in San Diego, actually in college, and being drafted early in that draft. He wears 17, so it'd be C, number 17.
17, and that is correct. We said we'd start with early ones, and you both did very well. So we have a 1-1 game. All right, so let's go now back to Mike. Second inning here. 4 different Cub players have hit 3 home runs in the 2016 postseason. They hit 3 back in that postseason. Which one of these Cub players did not hit 3 home runs in that postseason? So they did not hit. They did not contribute. Is it A, Javier Baez? Is it B, Chris Bryant, C, Anthony Rizzo, or is it D, Dexter Fowler?
Okay. Well, obviously, going back 2016, that was a great year. And you know that Javi Baez won the NLCS MVP. He had a big series there. Javi got the Game 7 home run, as a couple other guys that did. I'm going to go with Anthony Rizzo. Did not hit 3 home runs in the playoffs of 2016.
And that is incorrect. You had something with Baez. I thought you were going in the right direction there. But the answer is A, Javier Baez. He only hit 2. Addison Russell was the other Cub that hit 3, other than those that we named. Rizzo, Fowler, and Bryant all hit 3. All right, so a swing and a miss for you. So let's try now with Lance, who has a chance to take the lead. And we'll stay with that postseason in 2016. So, Lance, which of these Cubs pitchers did not record a win in that 2016 postseason? Is it A, Aroldis Chapman, B, John Lester, C, Kyle Hendricks, or D, John Lackey? And you're on the clock.
So I know Lester and Hendricks. Yeah, Lester and Hendricks did there, I'm pretty sure, if I remember looking back. They're both a pretty good series, especially in the NLCS. Chapman, it seems like a deceptive one there because I know he's the reliever closer. I don't know if they walked off at any point with him in prior. So I'll go A, Aroldis Chapman.
And right at the buzzer. No, it's incorrect. It is D, John Lackey. So that is a swing and a miss. Those were a little bit tougher. We told you they would be. So after 2 innings, it's a 1-1 tie. Let's bring in Notch, our statistician and researcher. And Notch, most people would have thought Lackey because the Cubs went 2-1 in his 3 starts, right? How did he not pick up a win here?
Well, Lackey didn't really pitch that often. He would only go about 4 or 5 innings at a time, and he was the 4th starter. So he only got, like you said, 3 starts all in Game 4. And the Cubs did win 2 of those games, most notably Game 4 of the NLDS when they rallied in the 9th inning to beat the Giants and clinch that series. But Lackey didn't get credit for any wins that postseason. Chapman did win Game 4 of that series, coincidentally.
Yeah, and he won Game 7, right? Chapman, after blowing the lead in the 8th inning of that game. At least that's what your notes say. So,
correct. He gave up Rajay Davis's home run.
All right, you're making me sound smart there. All right, so we have a 1-1 game. We'll get back to Mike and Lance here, and so we'll go back to Mike since you have the lead from the start here. So here we go, Mike. Your next question, a chance to take the lead. as I reset my timer here. Which American League team played against the Cubs on opening day in 2019? We've yet to open the season in 2020, but who played? It was an American League team. They opened with the Cubs in 2019. A, the Texas Rangers, B, White Sox, C, Yankees, or D, the Chicago Bulls. Always nice to throw in something a little bit different. We know which one you can eliminate. Just for people at home, we want them to pay attention there, Mike. Go ahead.
I think a couple people would like to see that battle between inner city teams, Bulls and Cubs, but I'm going to go with the Texas Rangers in 2019 home opener, the last home opener for that stadium, as they're set to open a new stadium this season.
All right, very good, Mike. All right, he is correct. A quick swing and a quick lead, and a score now of 2-1. Mike taking the lead, and now for Lance, and we'll put you on the clock as well. Who's the only one of these Cubs position players to start on opening day? Who was the only one of these Cub position players who started on opening day in 2019? Are we saying who it was not? Sorry, the question was written. Is it A, Kyle Schwarber?
Who is it?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
who was the only one of these Cubs who did not? I'm sorry. Yeah. I thought who did not start. Oh, who did start? I'm sorry. Who did start on opening day in 2019? My mistake. I wrote something in here, a side note. Is it A, Kyle Schwarber, B, Ian Happ, C, David Bodie, or D, Ernie Banks? Who was the only one of the Cub position players to start on opening day last year in 2019? That's my mistake, sir.
Okay, it might be Ernie Banks. No, it's not Ernie Banks. I think that would be A, Kyle Schwarber. I'm not 100% sure on that one. It's me, guess.
It's C, David Bodie, second base. Happ was in AAA. Notch, help me out here. Schwarber at that point was not in the starting lineup, right, because of the pitcher?
That's correct, because they were facing Mike Minor, who was a lefty, and at the time, Joe Madden didn't exactly trust him against left-handed pitchers.
All right, thanks for correcting. All right, so we have a 2-1 game. Mike leads Lance at the end of the first 3 innings. And guys, thanks for the question got a little tougher. They're going to get even more difficult as we continue on. And we'll right now head to break with Taylor McGregor has some questions for our fans at home, and we'll answer that when we come back, and we'll recap the score as well when we continue here on Play at Home on the Marquee Sports Network.
Nice.
Sorry, that was my fault on that question. I wrote "not" in there, so when I was going over notes, and it did not belong.
Yeah, no problem. This is all stuff we would hash out, and like I said, we would be taping this anyway. So if that happened, I would just stop it and then be like,
I would
re-ask
it. Yeah. I'm trying. I wish, and I'm printing these at home. I'll try to print them separately. I just want to, maybe one each for each question with the contestants or something. Because like the break thing, a few of these things ran in, and I want to be able to hit that if I need to tease.
Yeah, like almost like on cards, almost like cards.
Yeah. I wish I had. That's what I should do. Get cards. Okay.
Yeah, we were pretty much right around where we'd want to be on time there, including the minor hiccup. So that's good to know. And yeah, we're still flushing out whether or not we'll use Taylor here. So just for the remainder of the bumps, just tease an actual question.
Okay.
Just say, just pick one of the topics. Don't give the question away.
One
just
of
pick
the fun. Without giving it away.
Yeah, we'll get into some lists, and the players have a chance to steal one of the questions here as we continue with the show.
Okay.
Mike and Lance, nice work.
Yeah, you guys are good. 2-1. All right.
So we'll start up.
Oops, sorry.
Chris, just try to when you're getting to each inning, just explain the theme of the inning. So fourth inning, for instance, would be Cubs outfield, just so everyone at home knows what to expect. And also gives Lance and Mike a chance to kind of focus.
Okay. Yeah, I see you have. I didn't catch that from the first thing. You have like postseason. You have numbers. This one says Cubs outfielders, and then City of Chicago Entertainment. Okay, so mention that at the top. Yeah, that's a good idea.
All right, so we'll come back here. We'll recap the score. Mike's up 2-1, entering the fourth inning. Lance will go first here with the question.
Okay.
All right, in 5, 4, 3, 2.
And we continue on Play at Home here on the Marquee Sports Network, and it's a 2-1 lead for Mike over Lance, and we are entering now the fourth inning. This has to deal with, and I could actually show you we're keeping on the score. So think of it as an old time. Sorry, Kevin, our director there, old time scoreboard. But that's just it's early, so you'll have a chance here over the final 6 innings for that to get a little more offense going. And this will be worth now a couple of runs here. Lance, you'll get to go first. The subject material is Cubs outfielders. Okay, so we'll start with you first since you're trailing 2-1, Lance. And who was the last Cubs outfielder to hit 3 home runs in a game? He was the last one to do it. Is it A, Sammy Sosa? Is it B, Kyle Schwarber? C, Alfonso Soriano? Or D, Mike Ditka? Who was the last Cubs outfielder to hit 3 home runs in a game? And I'll start the clock now.
That's an interesting one. The first name that jumped to my mind was actually Chris Bryant, because I remember him doing it back in Great American against the Reds. Do you mind repeating that answer, actually?
Yeah, sure. It's A, Sammy Sosa, B, Kyle Schwarber, C, Alfonso Soriano, and the fun one, Mike.
Okay, I'm gonna go B, Kyle Schwarber. I don't know if he's done it at any time, but that seems a little more recent, so I'll go with him.
Yeah, well, no, that's incorrect. Tough question. It was Alfonso Soriano in 2008 against the Reds. Sosa had 6 career 3-homer games, but the last one was way back in 2002. So Soriano, kind of a sneaky one we put in there, but it gives Mike a chance now to add to his lead. So, Mike, for you, which Cubs outfielder has the most career hits? Most career hits for a Cubs outfielder. A, Sammy Sosa. B, Will Perdue. C, Andre Dawson. D, Billy Williams.
Just to clarify, is it most career hits as a Cub or just most career hits in general?
Most outfielder. Yes, thank you for clarifying. We should say we said which Cubs outfielder had most career hits as a Cub. We'll add that, but good point. I haven't started the clock yet, but I will now. So we're starting the clock. All right.
We're going to go with B, Sammy Sosa.
All right. Well, Sosa would have been A. That's okay, but
Sosa.
That's okay. You were 0 for 2 on that one. No, okay. Billy Williams is D, the correct answer. 2,510 hits, third most in franchise history, behind Cap Anson and Ernie Banks. But again, Cubs outfielder was the category, so the score stays 2-1. All right, now on to the next category here in the 5th inning. And we're just going to go by 1 runs here anyway. City of Chicago Entertainment. All right, Lance, you're still trailing by a run. So here we go. Think entertainment. Which one, like this show, think entertaining here. Which one of these baseball movies did not portray a scene that was filmed at iconic Wrigley Field? Did not portray. Is it A, The Babe, B, Little League, C, Rookie of the Year, or D, A League of Their Own? And I could repeat that if you need it, but which one did not portray a scene at Wrigley? The Babe, Little Big League, Rookie of the Year, League of Their Own, and I'll start the clock.
That's an interesting one. I feel like I remember The Rookie most fondly, and I believe that there is a scene in Wrigley. I'm going to go with Little Big League. Is that B?
Yes, that's correct. Little Big League, the movie about a kid managing the Minnesota Twins. Not sure why it was filmed at Wrigley, but probably because Wrigley's just a good time no matter what. All right, so you tie at 2 runs apiece as we move into the next category. And so we're going to come back. Mike, you have an opportunity here before we move out of this to get back in front. Which of the Chicago-based films won the Academy Award for Best Picture? These were all Chicago-based films, and it won the Academy Award for Best Picture. A, The Untouchables, B, Home Alone, C, The Fugitive, or D, Ordinary People. So one of those won, and if you're ready, I'll start the clock.
I'm going to go with C, The Fugitive.
No, that is incorrect. Shockingly, this is Ordinary People, the only film shot primarily in Chicago to win Best Picture award. I think that had Mary Tyler Moore was in that movie as well. Okay, on to the 6th inning here. Now a Hall of Fame category. And we're going to stay, Lance. It's a 2-2 game here. So we're going to go with you first on this. How many baseball Hall of Famers played for only the Cubs in their career? How many Hall of Famers in baseball's, in Cooper's Hall of Fame only played for the Cubs? Give me the number of players.
Ooh. Oh, no multiple choice here. Oh, man, you're putting me on the spot.
Well, no, I can give you multiple choice. I just thought, A is 0, B is 1, C is 2, and D is 3. We'll make it that simple.
Okay, I like that. I feel like I'm tossing around a couple names here. I'm gonna go and split the difference here and go with C2. Banks comes to mind, and I feel like there's probably another I'm missing.
Well, no, you were. It's incorrect, but you had it with Ernie Banks. It's only the answer is B1, Mr. Cub, which I think we all would have thought more. Mr. Cub, 56 total players since 1900 to have played for only one franchise, which is an interesting note from Notch. All right, so Mike, you have a chance here to take the lead. It's a 2-2 game. How many Hall of Fame inductees have Cub hats on their plaques in Cooperstown since 1990? So how many Hall of Famers have gone in as a Cub since 1990? Is it A, 1? Is it B, 2, C, 3, or D, 4? What's the number of Cubs since 1990? And we'll run the clock.
All right. I'm going to go with Sandberg Dawson. So that's 2. And Lee Smith. So I'm going to go with 3.
And that is
3 is my final
incorrect.
answer there.
That was your final swing. It's 4. Fergie Jenkins, 91. Sandberg, 2005. Yeah, Ron Santo, and then Lee Smith. So I think you had one that probably wasn't there. All right, but a 2-2 game as we have completed 6 innings here. Coming up, you'll be able to steal a couple of runs here and add some offense here. As Taylor will also have a question for us. And again, the score is, we have it at the moment on our old-time scoreboard. It's Mike 2 and Lance 2. We'll figure that out. And Notch knows everything. All right, thanks for watching Play at Home. We have our final innings coming up if you stay with us.
All right. Good stuff. Yep. We just need to make sure, Chris, you called it Little League instead of Little Big League the first time.
Oh, Little Big League. Yeah, I saw you write that. I didn't even know I said that. But okay, that's why I thought. So the second time, did I say it right? Okay.
Yeah. And just make sure you give the choices.
Yeah, multiple choices. I'm kind of doing 3 things here. So
yeah. So what is there something we should do differently on your end to make it easier?
Yeah, you know what? When you sent and I can print them. When you send them, maybe can we send them like just in larger print with just 2 questions for each contestant on one, like in one format, and then I can try to print them that way. Is that, and then
sure.
Any other notes on that'll help. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yep. It might be good, Nick, it might be good if we do it on a Google Word doc, and that way like everyone can edit and it's a nice, easier way to print as well.
Yeah, because it's helpful that, and you highlighted, which is helpful to me, the correct answer, so I make sure I have that. But it's just, sure. When I print them, and I would normally do this on cards. I don't know if I have the ability at home to print on cards, but if you just put them on one, I'll get more of a rhythm with this as well in terms of how to. For me, it's more a physical thing of putting papers, the bell, the buzzer, the timer. I guess if I don't have to worry about the timer, that would take a little bit off of worrying about that. But I'll just kind of watch a clock on that. That's probably
really timer purposes. We really only need the timer for the 30 seconds in the 8th inning question where they're naming as many names as they can. No one really ever uses the 30 seconds on the multiple choice ones. So we can just you can just say, I'll start the timer, but you're not really doing anything until the 8th inning.
Okay.
It's also something we can try to incorporate if it does become a problem, where we can try to add just a clock and edit that we're showing on the screen.
If you need to. But you're right. Most of these we haven't had a problem where somebody's taken too long. And if they are, I'll just they're down to 2 choices or so. I'll just say, hey, you got to make a call here. We're not going to. Yeah. So that's a good idea. I'll just save the clock for the actual 8th inning or whatever that one is. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So this is just recap the scores with the whiteboard when you come back, and then we'll start with Mike here since we're tied at 2. These are worth 3 runs each, so this is a big round. No multiple choice. And Lance, if Mike misses, you can choose to steal the question because you feel comfortable with the answer, or you can ask for a new question.
Any penalty if
Does
I
he
like
get the same?
Yeah, any penalty.
Your penalty would be if you guess it and you're wrong, that counted as your question. So we move on to the 8th.
Yeah, you give. you gave up your chance. Hey, I didn't. I just went. I think it's easier to go all single runs in those, even though they were tougher in the multiple choice. I didn't make that point. So
Yeah,
I
that's
think
fine.
I like it. So here, do you want it 2 runs and the second guess gets 1, or is it 3 runs and you get the total amount of runs if the guy misses it? Or are we going 3 to 2, or how do you want to do that, Nick?
I think you just take the whole round. I think you take the whole thing if the guy steals it. So
if the guy
worth
misses
2
it,
runs.
okay.
Yeah, worth 2 runs. If you miss it, you get it. You get both.
Okay. So is this 2 runs or 3 runs? You want to make it 3 runs?
I wrote 3, but we can change it to whatever. I'm trying to.
All right, we'll make it 2. Yeah, we'll make it 2. I like 2, and then and if the first guy misses, you get the full 2 runs. Okay. All right. And then the 8th inning is the one where you're on the 30 seconds, you guys. That I'll try to keep that brief as well. And you'll have. Do you want to let them choose, right, Mike? Who's ever behind, and if they're not, just go with one of them. If it's a tie game on the 8th inning,
whoever's trailing will get the option in the 8th inning to pick. Would you rather have Wrigley Field opponents, where you're trying to rip off answers in 30 seconds of Wrigley Field opponents, or would you rather do Cubs home run leaders? Those will be the 2. Chris will explain it. But whoever's trailing will get the option. So, Chris, you just have to say, all right, next when we get to the 8th inning, it's 30 seconds. Name as many as you can to get a run for each name. Since you're trailing, you can choose, do you want home run leaders for the Cubs, or do you want Wrigley Field opponents?
Right. And if it's tied, I'll just
you can just pick.
Do I give anybody I'll just pick them. Okay, good. Okay. And right now we are.
So here we go.
Right, 2-2.
7th inning, no multiple choice, stealable. So show us the scores when we come back on the whiteboard. Explain how the scoring's changing in the 7th inning, and then start with Mike. All right, here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2.
Nice to have you watching Play at Home. Chris Myers, I'm your host from Coast to Coast, but we're in Middle America with a guy from Indiana going up against a guy from Northwestern. And Mike and Lance, just as you would guess, the competition through multiple choice, it's a 2-2 game. But now we start the 7th inning and things get a little bit more difficult. And good to see both of you. Thanks for playing along. And for those of you guessing at home, you can steal runs here. These are worth 2 runs each question. And whoever goes first, if you miss it, your contestant, having heard that question and already knowing that you missed, can pick up that and steal that question and answer it correctly and get 2, or could just opt for a new question. And then in the 8th inning, we have something a little bit more challenging where you're on the clock with the naming of a list, and you'll get a choice if you're trailing. So here we go. Let's pick it up, Mike, since it's a 2-2 game. And the category here is Cubs trades. And again, if you miss, Lance will have a chance to pick up a couple of runs, having the answer, at least one of them, out of the way. No multiple choice here. Name the Cubs prospect who was traded to the Mariners for Mike Montgomery in 2016. Name that Cubs prospect who was traded for Mike Montgomery in 2016. Go ahead.
That'd be one half of the Bash brothers down there on the farm. It would be Dan Vogelbach.
Wow, that is correct for a couple of runs. He hit 30 homers for the Mariners in 2019 and a quick 4-2 lead. Very impressive. So no chance to steal there, but you may have a chance, Mike, to steal from Lance if he doesn't grab this one. Again, Cub trade. So Lance, you need this for the tie, worth a couple of runs. Always name is one of the 3 pitchers that the Cubs traded to the Marlins when they acquired Juan Pierre back in 2005. Can you name one of those 3 pitchers that were traded to the Marlins? I don't even know if you were born in 2005. I mean, you look like you get carded at McDonald's, but that's okay.
I do get carded at McDonald's.
And here's where you need multiple choice, but sorry, it's a tougher question worth 2 runs. Do you have a guess at all?
Oh, man. I honestly don't even think I have a guess. I don't know why. I feel like I'm trying to even think of a Marlins pitcher from back then in the old Marlins Florida pinstripes with the old teal and black.
I knew that.
I'm just going to pass it. I'm not even going to give it. Embarrass myself.
All right. Well, that's okay. The answer. Well, Ricky Nolasco is probably the most. There's Sergio, and I don't even know how to pronounce Mitre and Reniel Pinto were the other. Mitre, right? Sergio Mitre and Reno. But Ricky Nolasco was the one. Thanks, Dutch, for the. He also does pronunciations, which is good. But that was a tough question. So it's a 4-2 game now. So I'm going to let Lance. You're going to go first here in the 8th inning. Our category Wrigley Field opponents, and you can either go with 11 players who homered at least 28 times as a visitor at Wrigley, or Cub home run leaders, 13 players with at least 140 homers hit in a Cubs uniform. And you'll have 30 seconds to name as many as you can, and that's a chance to pick up a couple of runs here and close the gap on Mike, who's up 4-2. So which of those categories would you like? And again, you'll be on the clock 30 seconds to name as many as you can. So Wrigley Field opponents with home runs, or Cub players who've hit at least 140 overall as Cubs. What do you think?
I'll take the Cubs players to hit 140 more.
Okay, and I'll ask the question and then start the clock. And again, 30 seconds. There are 13 players with at least 140 homers hit in a Cubs uniform. Name as many as you can, and go ahead.
Okay, Ernie Banks, Ron Santo,
Right.
Andre Dawson. I'm going to go modern. I'll go Anthony Rizzo, Chris Bryant, Alfonso Soriano, Sammy Sosa. Now I'm starting to run into a wall. I probably got another 15 seconds or so.
No, you only have about 9 seconds left here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Aramis Ramirez.
Very good. You got it. They got that at the buzzer. So I counted. You had Sosa, Banks, Santo, Sandberg, Ramirez, Rizzo, and Dawson. Is that correct? Did I get them all? 2, 4, 6, 7. Is that correct? Notch, were you keeping track?
6. I don't think I said
okay,
Sandberg.
Okay, you didn't say so. I was trying to help you out there. All right, so 6. So that gives you, now we're going to count that as so you have 8 runs on the board. So you have a 4-run lead, just like that. All right, so your category, no choice left here for you, Mike. And again, 30 seconds after I ask the question. There are 11 players who have homered at least 28 times at Wrigley Field as a visitor. Can you name those? And ready, set, go.
All right. Albert Pujols, Mike Schmidt, Stan Musial, Willie McCovey, Hank Aaron, Willie Mays. How about Paul Goldschmidt? Man, as a visitor, you got to think some division opponents. I throw out Pete Rose, a big home run hitter. How about Tony Perez, Jeff Bagwell, Derek Bell? Man,
3 seconds.
I think that's it.
All right, time's up. How about you played for the Braves, the all-time home run hitter before Bonds moved ahead? That would have been a good one, right? If you could have thrown in Hank Aaron. That's all right, but those are tough. I counted. Is that 5 or 4?
Yep.
4 for Mike, right? Okay,
5.
so wow. So that's an 8-8 game.
9-8. Mike leads.
9-8. Who has the lead?
Mike.
Mike. Oh, okay, because he had 4 before, so we counted 5, or unless I wrote one wrong. Okay, 9-8. Okay. All right, so there we would build a little drama. Nice work on that. I like that. That's good. You had on that rapid round with the clock thing. That's where we might put the clock in. All right, so we have a good game, good competition. Mike has a 1-run lead, but that could all change with a little 9th inning drama. Our walk-off question. Think of a sports Jeopardy. You put on the line what you think you know against your opponent. But we continue on Play at Home. Each contestant gets the question here. Before we go to break, you're going to wager your number of runs based on the answer, and you'll show them at the same time. So here's the question. Think about, so obviously, Lance, you're down by a run. You have to think confidently because you'll have to do something to take the lead. Mike, you want to protect the lead. Who is the only player to hit 4 home runs in a game at Wrigley Field? The only player to hit 4 home runs in a game at Wrigley Field in the history of that great ballpark. You can wager your runs against your answer, and we'll hit the walk-off question when we continue on Play at Home. Give that some thought, write it down, and we'll see who wins this.
All right, boys. So a couple things there. Chris, when Lance missed, we didn't give Mike a chance to steal it. You just started answering it for him on the Marlins trade. So remember.
He does. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. He does get a chance, even because he got the first one right. I just assumed we didn't do that.
No,
but
and remember, I'm helping you on the message board too, so you don't have to keep track of anything.
Okay.
I wrote how many they got right instantly, so you don't have to do any of that stuff.
Okay, so I'll just look on the board for that. Yeah, you could. I looked up and I saw 9-8, but I thought Lance had 2 runs before he got 6, so that's what I was confused. So yeah, I have to get used to reading that board a little bit. And that was just me not knowing that even if the first guy got it right, I didn't know that you could still steal the question on another one afterwards. So that's my fault for not. I wasn't aware that we had okayed that. But I guess if you can steal it in the beginning, you can steal it all the way through. Okay.
Correct. The only time you wouldn't steal is if the second contestant stole it and then missed also. That would end the inning since they both missed their question.
Okay.
But that's good to know. We got a little heavy there, but that's mostly because you were trying to do the math and trying to figure out how many they got right and all that stuff.
Right.
So that'll be tough enough.
Yes. I was going to say, Nick, not to interrupt you, but that's where I have trouble. I'm trying to hit that list and I can't. They're rattling off names, so somebody is going to have to, because it's precious runs.
Notch and I both were keeping track of how many they got right, so you don't even have to. You can act like you are, but you don't even have to pay attention. You can just be like,
all right, I'll just go.
Tell you on the side.
Right, I'll go by the message board. I'll wait till that's totaled up and just rely on that instead of trying to compare what I wrote with what's up there. Okay.
Yeah.
You could even say like how many did they get right, Chris? If you wanted to ask me, and I can chime in.
Yeah. And if they're not, if I don't see them on the board, and maybe I wasn't looking or at the right time, but if I have any doubt, if it's not, I don't see it or I have a question there, I'll just say, Chris, how many did they get right there? And then you can tell me, just like Nick could write it. Yeah, they got 4 right, so now they have an 8-4 lead. That's the thing we want to keep building. That's where I was having trouble kind of doing the math on the fly. Okay, thanks.
Copy that.
Totally. All right, so when we come back here in the 9th, this is where you guys need your white piece of paper and your Sharpie. So at the top, write the answer, and then under it, put how many runs you're willing to wager for that answer. So Chris will come back. He'll welcome everyone back. He'll show the score on the whiteboard. He'll say this is our final 9th inning walk-off question. Here's the question one more time. Who's the only player to hit 4 homers in a game at Wrigley? Lance is down 9-8, so Lance, you go first. What's your answer, and how much did you wager? Then you'll hold up your piece of paper. Then Chris will then say, okay, Mike, you saw what happened. What did you put? He'll show the thing. We'll show the final score, and then, Chris, you can just thank both guys for playing, and we'll make up a charity or something for the winner moving forward. But we would know all that information beforehand based on who the contestants are.
Okay.
But so for right here, just show us the score coming back on the whiteboard. Explain that the contestants had all break to think about their answer.
Okay.
And we'll start with Lance, who's down 9-8 with how much he wagered and what his answer is. All right, so here we go.
Okay.
And you can only wager how many runs you got, right?
Yep, up to. You can wager 0 if you want, if you don't feel comfortable and you just want to keep your 9.
Sure.
But it's all strategy based at this point.
Right.
And that's a good point that I should, Nick, I'll say that when I tease that about wagering runs, I'll say you can wager 0 runs or all your runs. It's up to you. I should have to say you don't have to wager if you don't want to, because Mike's, if you're protecting the lead or something. Okay, so I'll make sure I say that. Okay.
Okay, here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2.
And we're set for the 9th inning. Someone will walk away a winner in Play at Home, and a charity will benefit on the Marquee Sports Network. Mike and Lance have gone toe-to-toe here. It's a 9-8 score with a chance. Mike has that 1-run lead over Lance, and we asked you before the break to wager either no runs or as many runs as you have to try and win this game based on the question. You wrote it down, the wager, along with the answer, if you had it correct. The question was, who's the only player to hit 4 home runs in the history of Wrigley Field, to hit them at Wrigley Field? So, Lance, you're trailing by a run. Let's see if you got it right, if you can show us what you wrote down. and how many
Sure,
runs
so
you put up on the
there we
board.
go there.
There you go.
Wasn't
So
sure.
you did not.
Gamesmanship
All right,
here.
you weren't sure.
I knew Mike
All
might
right,
have
so
this,
actually,
so the only way for me to win.
all right, it was smart though to wager no run, so you still have 8 since you did not get it correctly. So depending upon what Mike wagered, if he got it incorrect, he could lose this game or protect the lead. So let's see first. You could, well, I guess we're writing them together, and I ask people to write together. What do you got, Mike? Your answer
We got
and runs
Mike
were wagered,
Schmidt.
and
9
that
runs.
is
Mike
correct.
Schmidt.
All right, he put it all on the line, and so that is our winner. Mike, you're going to be like in an 18-8 score, and we congratulate you on winning the first ever play at home Cubs sports baseball trivia game. And Lance, thanks for playing along and pushing him right to the edge. So the charity that benefits, we'll give it to Anthony Rizzo's charity, and we hope you at home had a good time guessing along with us. Notch is always out there making sure the information is accurate. So we'll see you next time right here. Thanks, Notch, for your help on on Play at Home. Oh, and to find out who the contestants will be, you can go to Marquee Network social media. We'll make sure we list them so that you can watch and see as well. All right, thanks for being a part of it. We'll see you next time. Take care. Something like that. Wow,
that was great
on the board, Mike Schmidt.
Great pace there. Felt good.
Put it all on the
stuff.
line.
Good stuff.
Norman, that was impressive.
I'm kicking myself over the early rounds still. Yeah.
You guys were both good, and Lance, that was smart and not to wager the runs. So, and should I, Nick, make that clear to when they're writing it down to put them both on the same page? Is that how we want it?
Yeah.
Your answer and your runs. Okay. So so you hold it up. We see it all at once. Okay. How was the timing in all those segments, other than those few spots where I screwed up? Slowing us down.
Yeah, we got a little heavier in the B block than we'd probably want to, just because it's just 3 multiple choice questions. We went 6 minutes.
Okay.
It seemed a little high.
Okay.
Right. But yeah, we'll tighten all that up. The C block with the list felt good.
Yeah, and I fouled that up and killed you on time. I would say just my feel. I don't want to. There's enough things going on, so we the clock thing.